welcome back to Wings and Eagles Ministry. We're going to be doing a little video today in which I want to share with you a little word that I hope will maybe help you to, maybe help you stop and think just a little bit. Maybe you've seen somebody in this position or you've been in this position, and I think it will be an uplifting to you and help you to see sometimes that you can make a difference in someone's life, and their life might be depending on you. But before we do that, I want to make a special announcement. I'm going to be doing a video. Actually, we've done fixed it and got it ready, but it'll be uploaded later in the week. And I'm talking about a teaching video, and it's really going to be, I hope a lot of people on YouTube watch this video, because it's directed to the Christian, it's directed to the non-Christian, it's directed to everybody, because what I want to share is my personal story on something that I've had to overcome in my life. Now, a lot of people go through things that sometimes you will never know what they're going through. You will never know someone is suffering. When I was going through this 30 years ago, a lot of people never knew what I was going through. Only certain people did in my life. The closest people to me, my wife, my mother, and it was just a handful of people, my pastor. These were the only people that knew, because a lot of people you can't tell, but you cannot tell by looking what an individual might be facing, what they might be battling in their mind. And so I want to share with you my personal testimony. And this video, as I said, it's not just for the Christian, it's for anybody that might be going through what I'm going through. If you've never went through it, maybe it will help you to see some of the things that an individual might be facing. And if you are going through it, I hope it'll let you know that there is hope. 30 years ago, when I started going through what I'm going to do this video on, I didn't know I'd be here today, because you do not feel like you will. You feel like you're done for. You feel like it's over. You feel like you won't be able to make it. What I'm talking about is anxiety attacks and panic attacks. An event happened in my life, and it was really the trigger. And I started having these around 30 years ago. I want to share with you the story when I first felt it, what I know it was from, what the doctor sort of pinpointed it being from, and some of the problems that I had. Because unless you've experienced this, you don't have a clue what a person is going through that is going through this. You do not know, because, if you've never broken your arm, you can't tell somebody what it was like or what it's like to have a broken arm. You can't tell anybody because you don't know. So what I want to do, I told my wife when God helped me get through this, many years ago, I told my wife, I said, I feel like I'm somebody that I could go around different places and help people to see the severity of panic attacks and let them know there is help for them. Let them know that there is a brighter day coming. Well, the other day, several months ago, it seemed like the Lord started impressing upon me to share my story on this channel. So I'm going to do that this next video. And I know some people might say, well, you're a preacher. I was already a preacher when this started. I done started preaching when this hit me. But it's just sort of like it's an illness. And the reason why I'm saying that is a lot of people act like, well, you should never have them. Let me ask you a question today. No matter how strong your faith is in God, if you got up in the morning and you had the worst toothache you'd ever had in your life, you needed a root canal, you needed it pulled, you needed a filling, you needed something, whatever it is that causes all this pain in your mouth. Do you know what a lot of people do? They go to the dentist. They say, please pull my tooth. Give me a root canal, whatever it is. But just take that pain away, Okay, that's a problem. That's a problem, just like some of these other things people face. So don't think just because a person's a preacher, just because somebody's a Christian, that you're not ever going to experience things in life, because you will. And I want to share, and I'm going to read this. I will read this here in just a moment. But if you've ever read any books on faith and miracles and these type of things, and one of the people that I used to enjoy reading about was a man named Smith Wigglesworth. And this was a man, boy, he believed that God would heal, would do the miraculous. Well, this little story about Smith Wigglesworth tells you this. Said that there was one time he was at a meeting. I might not be able to get this exactly right, but I think I'll get it good enough to where you can tell what the point is. But Smith Wigglesworth, he couldn't see that good, so he had to have these little bitty glasses that he would put on the end of his nose when he would go to read, whether it be a sermon or a text or whatever it is when you go to preach. Well, his daughter was like his assistant, and his daughter was deaf, and they said that she had these things that she would put in her ears, and that would help her because she would sort of help him. I think they said she would sit a lot of times in the front row and would sort of help him in what he was doing that evening. Well, they said there was one night that they was having this sermon, or not sermon, but, well, I guess it was a sermon, but it was like a healing service. So he got up to preach, and his daughter was sitting in the front row, but she'd forgot to fix the one thing in her ear, whatever it was, or the ears, however it is she did it. And said Smith Wigglesworth began to pull at his glasses to get out, and he couldn't get the glasses out of his pocket. So he starts calling her name. I think it's Alice. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just going to use Alice anyway. But he begins to call after her, and he says, Alice, Alice. And of course she's sitting there, and she don't have the things in her ears, so she can't hear him, and he can't see his book. And one's calling, and the other one can't see, and the other one's not being able to hear. And they said a lot of the crowd, sort of enjoyed the moment with him. Then finally she knew what he was talking about. She fixed her earpiece. She went up, helped him, and he could see. Well, they said there was one person in that audience, though, that really thought they was going to get Smith Wigglesworth. And this person spoke up and said, "What's the matter with you, man of faith?" Said, "You can't see and your daughter can't hear? What's the matter with you?" And they said Wigglesworth, in just a split-second time, he came back at that man, and he said, and again, I might not get it word for word, but this is basically what he was saying. He said, "Elisha, can you explain to me why Elisha was bald then?" And so the man didn't say a word. What Wigglesworth was saying was, Elisha, in the Old Testament, the Bible said he was a bald man. And Smith Wigglesworth said he probably didn't want to be bald, but he was, But he was saying some of it, but yet these things happen. And I look at the Apostle Paul, Saul of Tarsus, who became the Apostle Paul. Paul said one time, he said he sought the Lord. He had a thorn in his flesh, and he sought the Lord 3 times to remove that thorn. But do you know what? The Lord did not remove that thorn. I don't know what it was. I do not know. I don't know if it was physical. I don't know if it was mental. I don't know what it was, what kind of problem. But whatever it was, the Bible said that God did not remove it from Paul. But he said, basically, God said his strength, God's strength, is made perfect in Paul's weakness. In other words, Paul, having that weakness, kept focusing on the Lord and knowing God is God and God don't ever change, as the song says. So what we're saying today is this. Everybody has problems. And a lot of people might have a problem that you do not even know. And people that have this problem, you do not know it a lot of times. Now, I suffered it. And a few years after it began easing on me, like I said, I still have problems where it tries to creep in. But years after this, when the severity began to ease and go away, I was able to help a friend out because I seen what they was going through, and I knew exactly what was wrong with them. And I was able to help them. So please hit your bell. That way you'll know as soon as it's uploaded. It'll be probably Thursday or Friday. And I hope you give it all a listen, because I share a testimony on something that a lot of people do not know really a lot about. But it's a serious serious, serious problem. People that have these panic attacks and anxiety attacks, to them, and like I was, it's just beyond belief, because people do not know what it's like unless you've gone through one. So anyway, look out for that. And I took a few extra minutes, but I hope you get the gist of what I'm talking about, and I hope you're stay tuned for that. But actually, what I want to read to you today goes a little bit along with that, because what this is it's telling you about somebody. And at the time, I didn't even know I was going to actually say this before this video. But this is about a boy that did not know when he was looking on someone else what that person was going through. So here's the story. I hope you listen and I hope you enjoy. Here we go. It says, one day when I was a freshman in high school, I saw a kid walking home from school. His name was Kyle. It looked like he was carrying all of his books. I thought to myself, why would anyone bring home all of his books on a Friday? He must really be a nerd. Well, I had quite a weekend planned, parties and football games with my friends tomorrow afternoon, so I just shrugged my shoulders and went on. As I was walking, I saw a bunch of kids running toward Kyle. They ran at him, knocking all of his books out of his arms and tripping him so he landed in the dirt. His glasses went flying, and I saw them land in the grass about 10 feet from him. He looked up, and I saw this terrible sadness in his eyes. My heart went out to him, so I jogged over to him. And as he crawled around looking for his glasses, I saw a tear in his eye. As I handed him his glasses, I said, those guys are jerks. They really should get a life. He looked at me and he said, hey, thanks. There was a big smile on his face. It was one of those smiles that showed real gratitude. I helped him pick up his books and I asked him where he lived. As it turned out, he lived near me. So I asked him why I had never seen him before. He said he had gone to a private school before now. Well, I would have never hung out with a private school kid before, but we talked all the way home and I even carried his books. He turned out to be a pretty cool kid. I asked him if he wanted to play football on Saturday with me and my friends. He said yes. Well, we hung out all weekend, and the more I got to know Kyle, the more I liked him. And the more my friends thought the same of him. Monday morning came, and there was Kyle with the huge stack of books again. I stopped him and said, boy, are you going to really build some serious muscles with this pile of books every day? He just laughed and handed me half the books. Over the next 4 years, Kyle and I became best friends. When we were seniors, we began to think about college. Kyle decided on Georgetown, and I was going to go to Duke. I knew that we would always be friends, that the miles would never be a problem. He was going to be a doctor, and I was going for business on a football scholarship. Kyle was valedictorian of our class. I teased him all the time about being a nerd. He had to prepare a speech for graduation. I was so glad it wasn't me having to get up there and give that great speech. On graduation day, I saw Kyle. He looked great. He was one of those guys that really found himself during high school. He filled out and actually looked good in glasses. He had more dates than me, and all the girls loved him. Boy, sometimes I was jealous. Today was one of those days. I could see that he was nervous about his speech. So I smacked him on the back and said, hey, big guy, you'll be great. He looked at me with one of those looks, the really grateful one, and smiled and said, thank you. As he started his speech, now listen to this. As he started his speech, he cleared his throat and began. Graduation is a time to thank those who helped you make it through those tough years. Your parents, your teachers, your siblings, maybe a coach, but mostly your friends. I am here to tell you all I am here to tell all of you that being a friend to someone is the best you can give them. I'm going to tell you a story. I just looked at my friend with disbelief as he told the story of the first day we met. Kyle said he had planned to kill himself that day, or over the weekend, I should say. He talked of how he had cleaned out his locker so his mom wouldn't have to do it later. And that's why he was carrying all his stuff home. He looked hard at me and gave me a little smile. Thankfully, he said, I was saved. My friend saved me from doing the unspeakable. I heard the gasp go through the crowd as this handsome, popular boy told us all about his weakest moment. I saw his mom and dad looking at me and smiling that same grateful smile. And it closes with this. Never underestimate the power of your actions. With just one small gesture, you can change or save a person's life. That's very powerful. And as I said, it really goes along with the video I'm going to post later in the week. Again, my wife, if it had not been for her, because she saw it all firsthand, and before I would ever share it with anybody, she knew what I was going through. But thank God that God knew. But as far as being that person here on this earth, she was the only one I opened up to. She knew the battle I was facing every day. She knew the battle I was facing every night. And then eventually, my mother, I told her, my pastor knew. But other than that, but here's what this story even says. You don't know sometimes what a smile will do, what a kind word might do, what a small gesture might do. You might change somebody's day, or you might change somebody's life. Or you might even save somebody's life. God put his love in each and every one of us. So let's help illuminate that light to those around us. We hope you enjoyed this video. We plan on having that video up a little bit later in the week, and we'll probably do a couple of shorts also this week. But the big video will probably be a Thursday or Friday. So please, we hope you stay tuned for that, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, God loves you. God bless you. And we'll catch you on the next video.